What you are watching is not just a prince leaving a courthouse. It is the exact second a multi-million-pound gamble collapsed in real time. Prince Harry walked out of the UK's highest court expecting a personal victory, the payoff of a fight he has carried for years. Instead, he walked straight into defeat. The door shut behind him, locking in a ruling that didn't simply deny his demands, it dismantled his entire strategy. He entered that courtroom looking for release. He expected the judge to treat his pain like proof, just as Oprah had, but he overlooked one hard reality. The High Court does not deal in emotion, it deals in evidence, and when Mr. Justice Fancourt delivered his decision, the loss of hope inside that room was unmistakable. Don't click away. What the mainstream press calls a setback, we call a financial disaster. In the next few minutes, we will break down the legal time bar, mistake his lawyers failed to escape, the staggering million-pound bill now hanging over him, and the quiet move Prince William made years ago to solve the same problem without losing a single pound. Harry wanted a war, he got one, and now the bill is due. To understand why Harry left the courtroom with that look on his face, we have to rewind to the moments just before the ruling was read. In major legal battles, defeat is not always announced out loud, sometimes it arrives silently. Courses inside the room describe a single moment that signaled everything was over. The court paused, the air felt heavy. Millions of pounds and years of public fighting sat in that silence. Harry remained seated, likely hoping for validation. His legal team saw something very different. Witnesses describe a quiet collapse. No shouting, no panic, just a subtle sign of fingers tightening on the desk, a brief exchange of looks between senior barristers. One lawyer leaned slightly forward, no papers moved, no words were spoken. Just a look followed by eyes dropping to the table. In courtroom language, that look means only one thing. It's finished. They knew because moments earlier, Mr. Justice Fancourt asked a question that sliced straight through Harry's emotional testimony. Harry had spoken at length about betrayal, ethics, and the damage caused by tabloids. He wanted the court to judge morality. The judge didn't ask about feelings. He asked about dates. Why is this case being heard now? That was the instant the room changed. Harry looked down, not in surrender, but in shock. He finally realized that while he was fighting a moral battle, the court was studying a calendar. The lawyers understood immediately the judge was not buying the emotional argument. He was focusing on a legal limit known as the statute of limitations. Their exchanged glance said it all. The case was about to crash into a deadline it could not survive. Harry believed his title and his suffering would force the law to bend. That silent moment proved the opposite. In the High Court, facts do not respond to feelings, and rules do not recognize status. Recognize rules. Harry was the last person in the room to understand he had already lost. While he waited for acknowledgement, his lawyers were calculating costs, and those costs were not symbolic. They were real, and they were massive. This is what we call the time bar trap. Under British law, most claims must be filed within Luke years of discovering wrongdoing. Harry accused newsgroup newspapers, publishers of The Sun Dies of Phone, hacking dating back to the mid-Archens. Do the math, it is Artenling Arterseith. He was suing over events nearly Arthur's years old. By every legal measure, the case was late, not slightly late, extremely late. Harry didn't deny that. Instead, he claimed he had been prevented from suing earlier. He told the court there was a secret agreement, a private deal between Buckingham Palace and newspaper executives, allegedly made at Sandringham. According to Harry, the deal was meant to keep the royal family out of court. He said he was told to stay quiet, that the papers would apologize and settle later. He framed himself as trapped by the institution, silence for the sake of peace. It fit his worldview perfectly. The palace was corrupt, the press was powerful, he was the victim. I didn't sue because I was told I couldn't, he argued. Everything depended on this claim. If the judge believed the agreement existed, the time bar would disappear. But Mr. Justice Fancourt didn't just reject the story, he dismantled it. In a ruling spanning dozens of pages, the judge asked a simple question: where is the proof? There were no signed documents, no emails, no contracts, only Harry's memory and vague statements. The judge noted inconsistencies. Even Harry's former lawyers appeared unaware of this supposed deal. The timeline made things worse. Evidence showed Harry knew about phone hacking years ago. He had consulted lawyers, he had options, he was not powerless. The court concluded Harry didn't delay because of a secret agreement. He delayed because he chose to. The clock was never stopped, and because it kept running, his rights expired. That is the time bar trap. Even if wrongdoing occurred, the defense simply pointed at the calendar. The law allows that, and the judge agreed. Most of Harry's claims were ruled time-barred and thrown out. The damage was immediate, not just to his image, but to his finances. In the UK, the loser pays. Unlike the United States, where each side usually covers its own costs, British courts operate differently. If you lose, you pay both sides' legal bills. Harry didn't just lose the argument. He handed News Group newspapers a blank check. Experts estimate high court cases like this easily cost millions of pounds. King's Counsel lawyers can charge over $1 an hour. In a previous hearing alone, Harry was ordered to pay nearly £100 immediately. That was just one procedural loss. Now scale that across this ruling. The bill could erase a large portion of the advance he received for pas spare prey. And here's the irony. Harry says he is fighting the press so they can't profit from his pain. But every loss sends money straight into their accounts. He is funding the very people he despises. This isn't strategy, it's desperation. And while Harry was burning cash, another royal faced the same problem and solved it quietly. Preceptory sextral. Court documents revealed that Prince William was also hacked, but he handled it differently. In Arts Handling Archers, William settled privately with News Group newspapers, no cameras, no speeches, no public fight. He received a very large payout. William resolved the issue, protected privacy, and moved on. Harry chose war. And instead of a settlement, he got legal bills. Instead of silence, public humiliation. Worse still, Harry's own filings exposed details of William's private deal, dragging his brother into the spotlight to save a failing case. The contrast is sharp. William acted early. Harry waited. William worked behind closed doors. The judge saw the difference clearly. This stripped away Harry's victim narrative. He had the same access, the same lawyers, the same power. The difference was not obstruction, it was judgment. And as Harry left that courthouse, he wasn't just facing legal loss. He was confronting a truth he has tried to avoid for years. The court could not give him what he wanted most. Catharsis. Harry treated the courtroom like a confessional. He wanted validation. He wanted authority to confirm his pain, but courts do not heal. They decide. Feelings are not evidence. Trauma does not reset deadlines. Harry wanted comfort. He received a ruling. And now, as the doors close behind him, the question is no longer legal. It's personal. Does he walk away or double down? That decision belongs to him, and the verdict belongs to you. Is Prince Harry a fighter standing against corruption, or a man throwing good money after a lost cause? Type * team fight if you think he should continue. Type * team stat if you think it's time to walk away. The case may be over, but the fallout is only beginning. And as that image lingers, Prince Harry standing outside the High Court, silent, rigid, alone, the meaning of this moment becomes impossible to ignore. Ben, this was never just about phone hacking. It was about recognition, about being believed, about forcing the system to say, Quench, you were right, Palash, but the system doesn't speak that language. And Ben Harry came to London expecting a final release, a clean ending to a story that has followed him since childhood. He wanted the past acknowledged, judged, and closed. Instead, he walked away with something colder and far more final, a procedural dismissal, no apology, no validation, just a legal shrug, and that may be the hardest loss of all. Ben, because the lesson here isn't only for princes, it's for anyone watching. There is a sharp difference between being morally right and being legally successful. You can be hurt. You can be wronged. You can even be telling the truth. But if you ignore deadlines, evidence, and process, the law will still move on without you. Harry spent years trying to correct history, trying to avenge his mother, trying to protect his family. But in chasing the past, he failed to protect his future. Sometimes strength isn't about fighting longer. Sometimes it's knowing when the fight can no longer be won. Mlemgen, from our perspective here at Lecce Legacy's Edge Dastat, this is not the fall of a villain or the defeat of a hero. It is the slow unraveling of a man who confused attention with progress, emotion with leverage, and noise with power. Ben, he sees himself as a crusader, but more and more the world sees a gambler chasing losses. As he walked away from that courthouse, hope didn't explode. It faded quietly, completely. And now he stands at a crossroads. Does he escalate into quieter, riskier battles that drain what remains? Or does he finally step back, accept the loss, and protect what's left? Bound, that choice will define the next chapter of his life. Band, now the verdict moves to you, the jury of public opinion. Band, is Prince Harry a man bravely standing against a corrupt system to the very end? Or a stubborn figure burning his fortune on a fight already lost? Down and type *team fight if you believe he should keep going. Type *team stop if you think it's time to walk away and save what remains. Been danced. If you value deep analysis that cuts through headlines and emotion, support our work, like the video. Subscribe to Tesha Legacy's Edge your stat, ring the bell so you don't miss what comes next. The case is closed, but the consequences are just beginning. I'll see you in the next briefing. And even after the cameras shut off, this story doesn't end. In many ways, this is where the real consequences begin, because legal losses fade, headlines move on, but financial pressure doesn't disappear quietly. It lingers, it forces decisions. And for Harry, those decisions are closing in fast. Every appeal he considers now comes with a price tag. Not just money, but credibility. Judges remember patterns, courts notice repetition. Each new filing raises the stakes and lowers the patience of the system. What once looked like persistence can quickly start to look like abuse of process. And that is a dangerous place to be. But behind the scenes, legal experts are already asking a question no one wants to say out loud. How long can this continue? Harry's income streams are not endless, media deals dry up, public sympathy has limits, and lawsuits, especially losing ones, consume cash at an alarming rate. This is the moment where strategy matters more than emotion. Jan, because while Harry frames this as principle, the law sees exposure. Each loss strengthens the defense. Each failed argument narrows his options. The room to maneuver is shrinking, not expanding. And there is another cost that doesn't appear on any invoice. Reputation. Every courtroom defeat reinforces a growing perception that Harry doesn't understand the system he keeps challenging, that he mistakes volume for leverage, that he believes persistence alone can rewrite rules written centuries ago. That perception matters. It affects future cases, it affects negotiations, it affects whether opponents feel pressure or confidence. And right now, the other side looks very comfortable. The most revealing detail is this: the court did not accuse Harry of lying, it did something far worse. It dismissed his argument as unsupported. In legal terms, that is devastating. It means the court didn't find him evil or dishonest, it found him unprepared. That distinction will follow him. Again, because in law, being wrong is survivable, being careless is not. Harry wanted history corrected. Instead, the record now shows a man who waited too long, argued too emotionally, and trusted his own belief more than hard proof. This is why the comparison to Prince William cuts so deeply. Not because William is perfect, but because he understood something Harry still resists. Systems do not reward passion. They reward timing, discipline, and restraint. William didn't need applause, he needed closure. Harry wanted acknowledgement. He got accountability. And accountability, when it arrives late, is brutal. So where does this leave him? Then at a narrowing fork in the road, one path is escalation, more lawsuits, more interviews, more attempts to relitigate the same emotional ground in different arenas. That path keeps him visible, but it also keeps him bleeding resources. The other path is acceptance. Quiet withdrawal. A recognition that some battles, even justified ones, are unwinnable once time has passed. That path doesn't feel like victory, but it might be survival. The tragedy is that Harry doesn't seem wired for silence. Silence requires patience. It requires confidence without validation, and above all, it requires letting go of the need to be proven right. As he walked away from that courthouse, jaw clenched, eyes forward, he wasn't just leaving a legal fight behind. He was leaving behind the last chance for the ending he wanted. The law gave him an answer. Not the one he asked for, but the only one it could give. And now the question isn't what the system did to Harry, it's what Harry will do next. Because from this point on, every move is a choice, not forced, not hidden, not delayed, a choice. And whatever comes next won't be decided in a courtroom. It will be decided by whether he finally accepts the limits of the fight or keeps pushing until there's nothing left to spend. That is the edge of legacy, and that's where this story now stands.